Welcome to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast, where we learn about some success stories and some not so successful stories. But either way, we learn. Each episode, we talk with successful real estate agents and vendors about things they have done to make them successful and some things they did that you might want to avoid. Join us for each episode of the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast with your host, Preston Sandlin.
About this over beers. All right, Paula. So you and Chris and the other person got together and started Lantern. And like most people, when they start a business, like when I started, I felt like I could put something out in the universe that wasn't quite there now, that I felt like I could do better. That's obviously what you guys have done, and now built it to 180 agents in 3 markets. So tell us what do you guys do different, or besides the training? I know, well, add the training. What if I'm a new agent? Why am I going to join Lantern, I guess?
Because the people.
No, and there are good people there for sure. They're super nice.
We have a good group of people. We actually do. We do offer, like you said, training. We're big into training. Actually, Chris Puckett, he actually owns a real estate school. He teaches also, I believe, at RCCC. So we're big in education, training, and actually mentoring, and just being there for the agents and each other. I still need help. I don't think that you ever become an agent to where you know it all. You know 100%. It all, or that you can't learn something new or a better way.
Right.
So I think education, collaboration, I think that support is some of the biggest things that you need to actually survive in this industry.
100%. Well, Let me ask you another question kind of along that same line. I sponsor a lot of the new agent orientation, that when you get to Key, they make you take that class.
Yeah.
And these are brand new agents, right? And I've been doing this for years, and then I see later on, a couple people out of that class turned out to be rock stars, and a couple people, so-so, and a lot of people wash out. What do you think is... I know there's probably not one secret sauce, but what do you think? Because you see agents as well that some have tremendous success. What do you think if you were talking to a new agent or somebody just got their license, what is there a commonality among those people who do well in this business?
Yes. So I can say the ones that, like you said, are rock stars and they jump full force in and they're closing deals. I think the 1 or 2 common denominators are out on social media. They meet people. They're active within the community. They don't just sit behind the computer and connect with people, right? They're growing their sphere of influence. And I know agents hate to hear that, your sphere of influence, but really that's true. You've got to nurture those people. Some agents do really well buying leads and cold calling. I never have. I've never been able to do that. I wish I could. I know some very successful agents that can do that. I'm just not that person. It may be because of my accent. I don't know.
No, I'm right there. I'm right there with you, Paula, because I'm in a bunch of home inspection groups. We're different, and we're trying to get business as well. And there's some people who do cold calling, and I just can't do it. It does work. I know people who make it work, and they're good at it, and it's a numbers game. And they say, hey, you make 20 calls, you'll get 2 sales or something. And I'm not knocking that. That works. I think there's a whole bunch of different strategies. And it sounds like yours is more of a social connections, people, and there's people who farm neighborhoods, that sort of thing, and that works for them. And there's people who buy leads, and that works
Yeah,
too.
and that works for them. I think you just got to find out what works for you, and then humble yourself and be vulnerable. I can't say the word vulnerable. I guess
vulnerable.
enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't gatekeep, right? I
Right,
don't
right,
like agents that gatekeep because I'm like, there's enough business out here that we can share secrets, right?
right. Oh,
Like,
100%.
unless you're out here robbing banks or something, but there's nothing nobody's reinvented the wheel, right? So if I can share a secret, well, I don't call them secrets because I blab too much to have secrets, I think. But anyway, so it's like there's enough business out here that we can share, our ideas, our strengths, our weaknesses, because what
Right,
I'm weak in, someone else, they're not. They're not.
right.
So I think just that alone, being around a group of people that are able to open up and truly be themselves, not gatekeep, and just collaborate together. If you see someone struggling, they're like, I'm really struggling, and I do take time to maybe give them other ideas that they, decided or thought of. But it's a tough business. I've heard agents say, well, I seen she could do it, then I can do it. He could do it, so I figured I can do it. That's not a reason why to get your real that I feel like can set you up for some because they're working it, because it's easy by no means. So I think just staying out in front of the public and your friends and your family, your colleagues, you know, I think that's one of the most important things to do.
Yeah. I want to add to that. I tell everybody, and I like young home inspectors, we're kind of in the same thing. Be nice to everybody, because you never
Yes.
know. Well, first of
Yes.
all, it's the right thing to do if you're, Christian or whatever. I mean, you should all, but this is not high school. You remember how high school was like, oh, well, that's the cool people, and I'm too cool to talk to this person or blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that is garbage. Be nice to every single
Yep.
person. And you
I
never know.
agree.
Yeah, well, I mean, not just because business could come from anybody, but it can. But
Right.
first and foremost, because it's the right thing to do. But you never know. And people, I feel like they like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. I don't know. It sounds like
Yes.
that's sort of the way you go about it too.
Yep. That is true. That is true. I can say I don't think Lantern we really recruit. What I like saying, I know some of the agents within Lantern that I had personal deals with, I admired them. One of them was Melissa Yates. I love her. I admire her. She's one of the most professional women that I know. And we had a closing together, and we were just sitting there talking. She was with another firm, and I was like, I enjoyed working with her, having a cross sell with her. She's amazing, as a professional. And I just started talking with her, and I basically was like, hey, you should join Lantern, and she did, and we were honored that she did that. So I feel like a lot of agents that have came to us is because the agents within Lantern had a cross sale, and they thought, I really like their worth ethic. I really enjoyed, the whole transaction. They're professional. I learned from them. So I think that's where a lot of our agents came from.
Awesome, awesome.
You know,
I
and
I do a
your
lot of
agents. Yeah.
I do a lot of inspections with Lantern agents, and I they're all
Yeah.
like that that I've encountered. So you guys are doing something right there.
If they're not, you better tell me. If not, you better tell me because
so so
I
Paula, let
think
me ask you.
we're perfect.
Gotcha.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you this: what is the wildest, craziest, uh, or funniest story or real estate experience you've ever had, or the wildest thing you've seen showing a house, either you or one of your agents? And you can change the names to protect the guilty if you want. But
Yeah.
what's your wildest, craziest real
So
estate story?
This one, it involved a little mill house in Mooresville. And it was a foreclosure. And one of my friends reached out and she's like, I really want to buy that house. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh. Okay, well, let's go look at it. And the smell of this
Oh man.
house, it was awful. Like, I'm sensitive to smells anyway. Like, I got some investors, I'm like, they know, they automatically know. But the floor, everything was squishy. The walls, it was
Mm.
bizarre. And the whole time I was thinking, why are you buying it? Like, this is, oh my gosh. Anyways, the pest inspector came out and he said, there are rats.
Hello, I'm Bill Gallagher with Superior School of Real Estate, and I'm here with Preston Sandlin of Home Inspection Carolina. Preston, I've always liked your style, especially those pants, and also I've been interested in the home inspection business for a long time.
Well, Bill, that's ironic. I've always admired your style, and I've always admired your ability to educate these fine folks for sometimes 4-8 hours a day. I wish that I could do what you do.
Hey Preston, wouldn't it be cool if we switched? Preston, we sure got what we wished for, buddy.
We sure did. And now that you're the expert, Bill, I mean, you are wearing the pants. And I'm the instructor and the educator. Tell us what Home Inspection Carolina is doing these days to make the home buying process easier for realtors and home buyers.
Well, Preston, all our home inspection reports now are online for the real estate agent and the client to review the report online and to be able to create a repair list basically online by either clicking repair, accept, monetary compensation, and once they prepare the request, they can then press email, text, or print right then.
You mean it's all automated, Bill?
Absolutely, we are high tech.
Wow. What else is Home Inspection Carolina doing different these days?
Well, Preston, we're training our home inspectors to be non-alarmist. We are training them to put things into perspective and to simplify the message for the hopeful homeowner.
Non-alarmist is key, Bill. You remember those days of the 100-page reports and those 3-ring binders that would just go on and on and on, la 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 la. Thank you for being a good non-alarmist.
And Preston, one more thing. We fix the small stuff for free. Do you remember when home inspectors always put those little nitpicky items on those reports?
Oh, bless their hearts.
Well, at Home Inspection Carolina, if we can fix it in 5 minutes or less, we do it for free. We're better with a caulk gun than a keyboard any day. We just fix it.
You mean there's no cost for this, Bill?
Preston, it's free.
Wow.
Well, Preston, these pants really are a catch.
Well, Bill, I've enjoyed wearing the suit, but I don't think I could wear it every day because I got to fix the small stuff for free, and I don't want to ruin a good suit.
Preston, it's been a lot of fun flipping the switch.
That smell is because they're eating the house, they're eating each other. It was awful. It was like a pure nightmare. But but my friend, she's an investor too, she's brilliant. She bought that house, I can't remember what she paid for it, turned around and rented it for a movie set.
Really?
Yes, she sure did. Yes. And I'll have to find her a message to ask her what the movie was or the series. Yes. And I actually think the scene was so I was like, that's perfect.
I inspected a house in Noda years ago. I mean, it was probably 15 years ago. And I don't want to say what it is now, but it's a business. It was just an old mill house at the time. And man, the attic was just full of rats. I mean, like
Oh,
when I got up in there, they started scurrying everywhere. I mean, they're big as cats. And,
yes.
I was worried. I was like, if I get on one of these things, they bite me, I'm probably going to have all kinds of shots or something, you know. And I can't remember who I did the inspection for, if it was, but anyway, that that place is now a restaurant.
Wow.
I mean, I'm sure they got rid of them and stuff, but I'm like, I'm not sure I can eat there. Noda is like, it was
It's
kind
high.
of
Yeah.
it's a
It's
cool
high
place
end.
now.
It
Yeah, but
is.
it wasn't always. It was.
No. And it's so, I think that is so amazing, though, how real estate can go from something like that, rat houses, basically,
Yeah.
to something now so magnificent and hip and popular. And let's face it, high end. Like
Oh,
that property is high end. So, I mean, I love to
100%.
see turnaround, things turn around like that.
Me too.
So,
Me too. And you mentioned earlier that you and Chris were like on zoning and
planning
planning.
and zoning. Mm-hmm.
That's brilliant to do that, because then you kind of know ahead of time. I mean, obviously, if a rail is going to come through there or
Yes.
something, you kind of get a heads up on what area is going to be hot, and then you can sort of advise your clients to, hey,
Mm-hmm.
you should buy in this area because it's going to be an investment for sure.
But you say it like that, it sounds like insider trading.
No, no, no. I mean it is like a good
It
thing,
kind of
because
is. It is. It's brilliant.
you're
When we were Kannapolis, I mean, Chris still serves, right? But we would actually encourage our agents to get involved and go to all the public planning and zoning meetings that they would host. Whether you're in, Cabarrus County, Rowan County, go to them all. Because as realtors, we are responsible for knowing, if the zoning's changing, if roads are coming in, if bridges are going to be built, so,
right.
and that's happening all through Kannapolis, new bridges and the expansion of roads. So yeah.
No, that's you're doing right by your clients, and that makes you more valuable to them. Oh, I didn't mean it to sound like insider trading. I was like,
I
no,
love it. We got some insider trading going in Atlanta.
No, I mean it's public information, but you
It
guys
is.
are sharp enough to go, because not everybody realizes it, and you're doing right by your clients, because I'm going to go to you and be like, Paula, what's this place going to look like 5 years from now, or they're not going to build an interstate in my front yard, are they? But if they're putting a brewery down the street, or
Yeah.
new baseball, that's going to make the property value go up.
Yes. That's true. That's true. That's what's happened.
100%. Well, Paula, I want to be respectful of your time. I just have a little game here at the end that I like to play with everybody. It's called This or That.
Okay.
So I give you two things and you choose between them. Okay. But first, I have to ask, did you ever watch any of that Twilight or any of that stuff? The werewolf stuff?
I watched a couple of the movies, but I never read the books.
Okay. All right, because that has to do with one of my questions. But anyway, you're probably like, where's he going with this?
No, it's
Squirrel. All right, Paula, iOS or Android?
I would say iOS.
iOS. Are you smartwatch or old school wristwatch? Like
Old school wristwatch.
Me too, right here.
Yep.
My wife's smartwatch, but I'm not sure I'm smart enough for the smartwatch. Is the problem?
I think they're pretty. I don't think they're
yeah.
pretty. I
Yeah.
like the old school wristwatches just for looks. I mean, I don't even know if mine's set right, to tell you the truth. It is. It is. Okay.
I'm just always like watches. Just I don't know. Since a kid, I was like, I would just always thought they looked cool. The old school watches. Like different.
Yeah.
I don't know. The more dials and things, the better. But I don't know. That's just me.
I
I'm
agree.
like you though.
I
I think the
agree.
time's right, but these other 3 dials on there, I'm not even sure what they're for. But they look cool. Probably not what
Cool.
you
It's just
should
for
hear from
look.
them. Yeah. There you go. Tacos or pizza?
Pizza.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No.
Tennis shoes or flip flops?
Flip flops.
Mullet or bowl cut?
Mullet.
Well, they're coming back. They're coming back.
Rowan County mullet.
Yeah. Well, Morgan Wallen, he's starting to sport it again, and everybody else is doing it as well. If you saw my high school picture from 1987, man, I
You
had
had
the
one.
achy breaky heart mullet.
Did you have a
would you,
perm?
yes, in the back. Oh God,
You need
I
to
had
post a
forgotten about that.
picture.
I'll find a picture. I have to send it to you.
Next
I can still.
podcast, you have to start it out.
As soon as you said that perm, I immediately could smell the smell of, when they do a perm like that.
Oh yeah,
Remember when they
absolutely.
remember there used to be like a place in the mall that did those, and like you get down to that end of the
Mhm.
mall, and oh my gosh, you could smell the chemicals. That couldn't have been good
Not
for you.
all about that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
until you said the perm in the back, I immediately could smell that smell. So beach or mountains?
Beach.
Beach. If you had to be locked in a room, I mean, this is not a good choice either way, but locked in a room full of clowns or mosquitoes? Which one? Mosquitoes?
Clowns.
Oh, clowns. Okay.
No, clowns.
You take the clowns. All right. If you all right, so if going back to the show, the vampire show, were you team Edward or team Jacob? Jacob was like the werewolf dude, and Edward was like
I
the
would. Edward.
Edward. Yeah, that's my wife.
Edward.
She was all into that. Now, when I interview guys, I always say Ginger or Mary Ann. I try to do the opposite. I was like, what would be the equivalent of that? So, if you were on Gilligan's Island, would you be Ginger or Mary Ann?
Ginger.
Ginger. Awesome, awesome. Well, last question I got for the last this or that toilet paper over or under? Like, is it the mullet or the beard?
Over.
Over, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I've known home inspectors that will actually flip it if they see it. I'm like, man, it's somebody else's house. Don't be messing with that. Some people I hear it's under because if you have cats, they won't undo it or something.
Yeah.
All right. Last question, Paula. I won't hold you up. Let's say you woke up in a parallel universe tomorrow. You have everything that you have. It's just you don't know anybody, but you have your real estate license, you have all your tools, your computer, all that, and you have $5,000. What are you going to do? How are you going to spend that $5,000 to market yourself or your real estate services? It's kind of like a new agent question. Like, what's the most effective marketing if I only have $5,000 to spend?
And I don't know anyone.
You don't know anyone, but you have all your equipment. You don't have to go buy a computer or anything like that.
I think I would go somewhere where they're having a dinner party or an event, and just buy random people's dinner with my business
Nice.
cards. Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
'cause you don't know. I don't even know how. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. And then I thought about, well, you could go to a brewery, but I don't drink, and buy drinks. But then I'm like, do you want to go? And I'm like, well, if you could get into a country club, everybody. I don't
Right.
know. That's a good question. I'm gonna have to think on it.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, and I didn't mean, and for all the listeners, I didn't send her the questions ahead of time or anything.
No.
No, but I think it sounds like your answer is kind of like your answer earlier. Just get to know people. And the more you
Yes.
network and, it's no like and trust. I mean, I know so many people who are successful realtors because they like, their kids' baseball or soccer or whatever, and they got to be the mom who did all the stuff and helped and all this. And oh, by the way, I do real estate. It's not like
Yep.
I'm an agent, I'm an agent, I'm an agent. It was more like they connected with these people first. And oh, by the way, I do real estate. Do you know anybody who, if it's not them, that's the thing. Every single person you meet knows well, I read this somewhere. Everybody knows 250 people. That Joe Girard, he said, like when they do a wedding or a funeral, they always print, or the average is 250 invitations. So from that, he said,
Really?
everybody knows 250 people. At least, maybe not, not 250 BFFs, but they know 250 people. So if you think about
That is very interesting.
yeah, I read that book. It was Joe Girard. It was an old book. It was like he was the greatest salesman ever. I don't know, but that was my takeaway.
Oh,
That he asked like the people who make these invitations for weddings and stuff, like how many do you take? And they said the average is 250. So from that, he started thinking, everybody knows 250 people. So everybody, you don't think you're just meeting one person. I always think, well, wait a minute, if I get to know this one person, I'm really getting to know 250 people that they know of. You know what I mean? So
very
anyway,
interesting.
awesome.
That's a good fact.
Yeah. You can steal that. I stole it from Joe Girard. So if you want to use it, that. Well, Paula, if somebody's interested to know more about you or Lantern, or renting out your, we forgot to even talk about that. You have it. Well, quickly, let me get that in. Tell us about your event space.
It's located in China Grove, of course. It's called Stonegate Farm Venue. You can rent it for private parties, weddings, rehearsals. I've had retirement parties. So it's located in China Grove. We do have a Facebook page. And do you want me to give them my phone number?
Well, or email, maybe. I don't
Yeah.
want somebody over some
Hey.
bad actor and some country that hacks get your phone number and stuff. But yeah, what's your email address for that and Lantern and all the places that they're out on Facebook or Instagram or all that?
So I am very easy to find. I have Facebook. I have all the social media. My name is Paula Severt. You can contact me through social media, or my email is paulasevert@yahoo.com.
Awesome. And Lantern Realty, that's you guys are on obviously Facebook. Are y'all on Instagram
Yes.
and all that stuff too?
I don't think we're on Instagram actually, but I do know that we're on Facebook.
So if somebody was interested in knowing more about Lantern and what you guys have to offer, what would be the best way to contact?
You can contact me. You can contact me, or we do have a website that you can go to. It's Lantern Realty. I think it's .co, and there's a little option on there that says contact us. You can stop by the office. You can contact me. We're very easy to find.
Awesome. Yeah, they have, and for all the listeners, they have a cool little office in downtown Kannapolis, right around the corner from the gym. The gym,
Yes.
not the gym, but the gym movie
Theater, movie theater.
Yeah. That's I love that place, by the way.
I do too.
So awesome. Well, Paula, thank you so much for your time. Sorry we were having a little bit of trouble there, but I'll edit it up and get it looking good.
Awesome. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
I
Thanks, Paula.
appreciate you.
You've been listening to the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast with your host, Preston Sandlin. Join us on the next episode where we'll be talking to a successful agent or vendor about the right things to do and the wrong things you should avoid. Join us on the next episode of the Successful Real Estate Broker Podcast.